Alright guys, so this is one of my patented videos before work. Yep. So today we're going to be reviewing not a comic that came from my friend Chris. This actually is one that I got for myself because I've been collecting these for a while. I've been collecting this series for the longest time. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Darth Vader, The Shadow's Shadow. If you guys have been here long enough, you guys know I've been collecting literally all the Vader comics from Marvel in trade for like ever since like Volume 1 back in the Karen Gillan run, which I still hold on to. While Salvador Larroca's artwork can be really hit and miss, sometimes it can be really miss, I still say that that's probably not only one of the best Star Wars books I've ever read, but probably one of the best Marvel comics that was just phenomenal in its entirety. The Charles Soule Vader series that was like the set during the post-prequel era, that was pretty good. I think it did have some high points. It did have like much better artwork, and I do think it was more action-oriented, as more and less of a character study for Vader and than Gillen's run was. And I do think it did have some just points where I was like, move the car, George moments. But I do think it did end strong with the Fortress Vader arc. Now we come to the Greg Pak run, which is set in between Empire and Return of the Jedi, and is now with this volume is now the longest of the Vader comics. Like, this is the longest of the Vader comics, and it's getting volume 6, because here's the thing: the other Vader books all ended at like 4 volumes. You could say 4.5 with the Vader Down Vader Down event that happened, but yeah, it was without that. That's still like 4 volumes. So yeah, the Greg Pak series is running the longest. Anyway, so let's talk about Darth Vader, The Shadow's Shadow. So this picks up where we left off in the Crimson Reign tie-in, which, yeah, the Crimson Reign tie-ins were much better than the event itself, let me tell you. The Crimson Reign event basically was that we're picking up the pieces that, yeah, the Empire's been infiltrated by the Crimson Dawn, the group led by Kira, and at the end of that volume, Sabe, who is the former handmaiden to Padme and also her body double, essentially reveals to Vader that she knows that he's Anakin Skywalker, and that takes place. And this picks up where that left off. Now, Vader obviously is like, no, Anakin Skywalker has been long dead. It's you are mistaken. All of that stuff. Like, he's just like, I'm not Anakin. I'm totally not Anakin. Look at my breathing. Anakin doesn't breathe like that. It's literally like that. But Sabe reveals that she's been in contact with a group of people who have been attacked by an Imperial governor who does work for the Crimson Dawn, and she's like, if you come help me save them, you can take out another cell in the Crimson Dawn. And he's like, right on. And so Vader, along with Ochi of Bestoon, the guy who, Ochi of Bestoon, the guy who murdered Rey's parents. Yeah, he's been a big part of this comic series. And I gotta say, I do like Ochi. It is kind of, but it does feel like we're trying to do 000 again. Kind of. Especially with the data droid Zed, who even finds his own little R2 unit to pal around with, just like 000 and BT-1 did. They're the diet versions of those characters. But Ochi is really fun, especially now that we have Sabe to play off of, because now Ochi believes that Sabe is trying to like get Vader's favor, when really she's just like, I have to believe there's some good in Anakin. Like, I have to believe because she did see Padme's recording on Polis Massa of, I know there's still good in him. So she's more or less like, yeah, I have to believe that there's still good that Anakin Skywalker is still within Vader. So I'm going to do whatever I can. So they go there, and this is where Vader encounters literally characters that you like, yeah, Wald and Kitster, who were Anakin's childhood friends on Tatooine. So they're all grown up now. and now it's everyone taking on basically the remnants of the Crimson Dawn. I don't know how this will tie into the Hidden Empire, which is the conclusion of this 3-event arc that's been going on since War of the Bounty Hunters. But yeah, hopefully Hidden Empire will be better than Crimson Reign. That was just god awful. The tie-in, the Darth Vader tie-in was really good. The event itself was boring. The main event book was boring as shit. Like, it's something you don't, and I hate to hark on this, but I really feel like I have to, of just how bad that second part was. Because the first War of the Bounty Hunters was actually very well done. And I'm like, this is from the same writer? Because literally, it's just, like, if you want to see all the action going on, go check out the tie-ins. Because nothing really of importance happens until the last 2 issues of that 5-issue event. Anyway, I'm getting away from myself. So I really do like this book. I do think that it's nice to go back to the Sabe and Vader stuff that was built up in the first volume, and I still think that Into the Fire, the second volume of this series, is probably the best of perfectly tying in original stuff, prequel stuff, and sequel stuff all together into one volume. This has been a lot of fun so far. Now I'm reading the trades. I'm not reading the actual volume. I'm not reading the issues issue by issue, but it does look like that. Yeah, Sabe is like trying to stay by Vader's side no matter what, and all because she believes Padme was right, which inevitably we do know that is, and that's more because of Luke. There is a lot of neat stuff in here. I really do like that we get to see, although there is some stuff in here where, like, okay, could Vader have done that before? Because there's a moment where Piet is, like, talking to him on the planet, and he's like, sir, I don't understand. Then he gets force choked from all the way down from the planet by Vader, and I'm like, I don't think Vader could have done that before, but whatever. To quote Han Solo, that's not how the Force works. But whatever. I've come to understand that the Force is literally whatever the writer wants it to be. And I'm not saying that just because, that's just a quirky joke about the sequels and how they use the Force. No, the Force has been whatever it wants to be, whatever the writers want it to be since time in memoriam. Like, since the first time George Lucas thought of the Force. I mean, let's non sequitur real quick. Literally, why is it that, like, we can be shitty about Rey using healing, like force healing, which, yeah, it's a kind of bullshit because we could have done that at any point, and then we're totally like, oh yeah, Star Killer's ripping shit out of the sky, ripping a Star Destroyer out of the sky, and I'm like, it's got to be both ways. You can't, and you could say, oh, but he was trained by Vader. Yeah, and also he had he was all powerful in the Force. Yeah, Rey is apparently all powerful in the Force because she's like a counterbalance. She was supposed to be, originally, she was meant to be like a counterbalance to Snoke and Kylo Ren. But whatever, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, I was just kind of like, that was cool, but also that was bullshit. I call shenanigans on that Vader Force choke from all the way from planet side. Because I'm like, if that's the case, then he could have just force choked like everyone, he could force choke somebody from like their cockpit in an X-wing or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, so all in all, this is a neat story. The problem is getting back on topic because there's been a lot of off-topic stuff. There is one thing that bothers me is that the villain here, the governor they are battling, who's a Crimson Dawn agent, is really one note, and it's really she's not threatening. She's not threatening, and it does look like she's going to be the big villain for the series moving forward, for the at least the next volume, by the looks of it. But there you go. So anyway, yeah, if you're enjoying the Vader comic so far, I say pick it up. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.